Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Turn your video. Who is missing today? Sana? Sana is missing. What happened? Yesterday also she didn't join, no? Okay. Now, did you read the text? Went through the portion? Okay. What did we learn in the last class? Who will tell me? Amal? What all did we learn? Unmute.
About the factors influencing sustained attention.
Factors influencing sustained attention. Okay. Then, what are the factors? This Sana is here. What are the factors?
Sensory modality.
What is it?
Sensory modality.
Sensory modality. Okay. What is the sensory modality, or how does it affect? Meghna, how does sensory modality affect?
In sensory modality, the auditory stimuli is more in superior than the visual stimuli.
Stimulus. Okay. So regarding sustained attention, auditory stimulus is more superior than the visual. Okay. Which is the next one, Ashish? Next factor after sensory modality?
Clarity of stimuli.
Clarity of stimuli. Very good. What do you mean by clarity of stimuli, Elvina?
They have more intensity and long-lasting stimuli has to be more attention, which gives a more better performance.
Just once more. Can you repeat once more?
The long-lasting or it has more intensity, gives more better performance, or have more attention.
Okay, which has clarity, which is more clear and which is more intense. That will help us in sustaining our attention than the ones which lack clarity. Okay, that's the point. Clarity of stimuli. Which is the next point? Reina, did I ask you? Okay, tell me.
Temporal uncertainty.
Temporal uncertainty. What is temporal uncertainty, Aishwarya?
When something appears more time, we tend to attend to that rather than those which appears at different time intervals.
Number of times is important there for temporal uncertainty. Now, which is the next point, Grishma?
Spatial uncertainty.
Spatial uncertainty. Sana, did you go through the portion? Last day's portion? Yes? What happened to you yesterday?
Network problem.
Huh?
Network issue.
Issue. Okay. Go through the portion. Okay. Grishma, can you tell her what spatial uncertainty is?
When the stimuli is in a fixed position, we tend to attend more to that stimuli compared to things that are at stimuli that are at random positions.
Okay.
They are difficult to attend to.
The attention. Okay. In the first case, that is if they are present at fixed positions or fixed places, then we can sustain our attention more than the ones that are presented, than the stimuli that are presented at different places or random places. So that's about the factors influencing or affecting the sustained attention. Then we learned one more topic. We started perception. We learned one more topic. Who wants to tell what that is? Yes? Aishwarya?
Processing approaches and
Processing approach.
perception.
Perception. What are the processing approaches? There are two approaches. Elvina, what are they?
Bottom up and top down.
Bottom up and top down processing. Bottom up, Meghna?
Bottom up process, it's a from specific form to general form.
Okay. And the top down processing is? Ashish, top-down processing,
General to specific.
general to specific. Very good. You just have to know that particular concept and then you can explain based on that if you have understood the concept. And example also study for each processing. Then yes, we'll move on to the next topic, the perceiver. The perceiver is again one who perceives. Okay. So the factors we are going to learn about several factors within the person, that is within the perceiver, which can influence our perception. Okay. I'm sharing the screen. Yes, you're going to see a duck here. Can you see a duck? Yes. Do you see anything else?
A rabbit.
A rabbit. Okay. I already told you you're going to see a duck. So the first thing that you saw, was it a duck? Yes. Did you notice a duck first? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. That was one thing. Just a minute. Where is the taskbar? Okay. Easy board. Now, the first thing, leave the rabbit and the duck. We are going to learn about something else first. So the first point we are going to learn is motivation. So in this section, there will be some factors or characteristics or some concepts about the perceiver that influences the whole process of perception. And the first one is motivation. Raina, take page number 97. Everybody can take from the textbook. Please read down that portion. Motivation.
Motivation.
Hmm.
Motivation. The needs and the desires of a perceiver strongly influence her or his perception. People want to fulfill their needs and desire through various means. Or one way to do this is perceive objects in a picture as something that will satisfy their need. Experiments were conducted to examine the influence of hunger on perception. When hungry person were shown ambiguous.
Ambiguous means the ones which are not clear. Doubtful things. Ambiguous means something that is not clear or evident.
And pictures, they were found to perceive them as a pictures of food object more often than satiated non-hungry person.
Yes, satiated means those who are not hungry. Satiation means not having the hunger. Note down if you want. Yeah, so the first point is motivation, which means the perceiver's motivation in terms of the needs and in terms of his or her desires. Both of these factors influence how the person perceives something. And the example given here is in an experiment, people were presented with ambiguous stimuli. Let's say I am showing something like this to the participant, and they were hungry. All of them were hungry. What is this? If I ask you, what is this? What will you tell? Give a label to this picture or this scribble. Apple. Yes. So is it essentially an apple? Does it look like an apple? Exactly, no. But it is an ambiguous stimuli. It's not clear. It is not fixed. It is a doubtful picture. Everyone can't actually say that this is an apple. Like, I'll draw that once more. I tried to draw that once more. How did I draw? Okay, that was something like this, no? So if I ask some student who was learning maths, maybe one first standard or second standard student, then he or she might say this is a 6. Understood? Because he or she was trying to learn mathematics. That was his or her need or desire he or she was trying to learn maths. He was so much interested to learn the numbers from 1 to 10 by heart. And at that time, I'm going to present this particular ambiguous stimuli to the person. And then the kid is telling that this is 6. But Meghna would tell this is an apple. Okay? Understood? That's what happens in the case of motivation. That is, we look out for things that fulfill our needs and those that fulfill our desires. The perceiver looks out for the things that fulfills our needs and our desires. So the whole motivation thing that influences the perception of a stimuli or a stimulus. This is the first point. Perceiver, we have the first point, motivation. Under motivation, we have two factors, that is needs and desires. We look out for things that, or we perceive things in such a way that it fulfills our needs and desires. That is the first point. Now, the next is expectations or perceptual sets. Who will read? Meghna, read. No express trains again.
The expectations about what we might perceive in a given situation also influence our perception. This phenomenon of perceptual familiarization or perceptual generalization reflects a strong tendency to what we expect to see, even when the results do not accurately reflect external reality. For example, if your milkman delivers you milk daily at about 5:30 a.m., any knocking at the door around that time is likely to be perceived as the presence of the milkman, even if it is someone else.
Yes, understood that example? In the morning, daily, we used to get the milk from the milkman. And one Sunday, somebody comes and knocks on the door or rings the bell, and you perceive it as the milkman, even if you don't see the person, because you're used to it. You have an expectation. You already have a perceptual set. Now, write down the definition of perceptual set. Perceptual set is a tendency. Perceptual set is a tendency to perceive or notice, some aspects, to perceive or notice. There's a tendency to perceive or notice some aspects, A-S-P-E-C-T-S, aspects of the available sensory data, and ignore others. Available sensory data and ignore others. Available sensory data and ignore others. Do you find any similarity to anything that we learned before? The definition? Yes?
Yeah, attention.
What attention?
Selective attention.
Selective attention. That is, selective attention was selecting something and ignoring the others to attend to. But this is the next level. Not only selection, but perception takes place. We identify, we recognize things, we interpret things. Okay, we interpret something in some way and ignore the other different multiple ways in which we can interpret that thing. Okay, now look at the screen. Haven't you finished writing? Should I read it once more? Should I, anyone? No. Okay. Now look at the screen. I want you all to see a cloud here. Can you see the cloud? Yes. Okay, now tomorrow I'm asking you to come and look at the picture, or maybe after 5 or 6 months, I'm asking you to come back and look at the picture. What will you perceive it as?
Tree.
Tree, yes. So just because I told you, I want you to see a cloud in here. So you are expecting for a cloud here. Yes, you have a perceptual set that you are going to see a cloud. I already drew the trunk of the tree, but before that you perceived it as the cloud. So that's what happens. Now the rabbit and the duck thing. I told you you're going to see a rabbit now. So automatically you see the rabbit. Now I ask, can you see a duck in here? You keep on searching for the duck and you find the duck. Understood? Yes, that is the expectations of perceptual set. Okay, the expectations of perceptual set. Now, the next one, that is cognitive styles. Who wants to read? Aishwarya, read.
Cognitive style refers to a consistent way of dealing with our environment.
Yes,
It
mark that in your textbook. Cognitive style refers to consistent way of dealing with our environment.
It significantly affects the way we perceive the environment.
Mm.
There are several cognitive styles that people use in perceiving the environment. One most extensively used in studies is the field-dependent and field-independent cognitive style. Field-dependent people perceive the external world in its totality, that is, in a global or holistic manner. On the other hand, field-independent people perceive the external world by breaking it into smaller units, that is, in analytic or differentiated manner.
Okay. Can you connect it with anything that you have learned before in the first chapter? Anybody?
Gestalt psychology.
What? I didn't hear.
Gestalt, I think.
Gestalt psychology. We have the whole and we have the parts. Yes, cognitive style means what is cognition? Any aspect of our thought, any aspect of our mental life can be referred to as cognition. So cognitive style means our ways of thinking or our ways of perception. We are dealing with the perception, so let's put it as ways of perception. Now we have two category of people, field dependent and field independent. These are two types of cognitive styles. Okay, field dependent and field independent. So people who depend on the field and people who do not depend on the field for perception. Okay, so what happens is in field dependent, that is, they look at the whole thing. They try to perceive the whole thing. That is not the specific stimuli or the specific parts of a stimuli. They perceive the whole thing. While the field independent people, what they do is they perceive only the small parts of the stimulus. Okay. And just a minute. Wait a minute. I'd already kept it ready. I don't know what happened. Yesterday, we saw something, no? A, B, C, and the other one, 12, 13, 14, remember? Yeah, you judged based on the background, right? Something that was present on the background, you judged the thing in the box with the help of the background or the field. That is field dependent. Okay. Now, where was the picture I'm searching for? Okay, we'll see with this. Can you see this picture? Yes, there are so many figures and designs. And can you find out the particular figure, the figure A from the ones given on the right? Right. Look at it and find. Just try with the figure A. Figure A and the designs 1 and 2 there. Are you able to do that? Yes. Anybody got? Just try the first one. Don't try and solve. The whole period will be over. You didn't find? First one is the simplest.
The second one.
Second one you found?
Both.
Yes.
Huh? God. Ashish got. Which one did you get? One.
Both.
Both. Oh, are you guys trying to find from either of them? I'm trying to what I'm trying to tell you is find the figure, that the small ball-like structure, from the 1 and 2. Still you did find out? Ashish, you got from both. Who else got? Meghna got. Aishwarya got. Grishma got now. Then who else? Silvina? Amal, Sana, what happened? There, got? Yes or no? He's still figuring it.
Yes, ma'am.
Sana also got. Okay. Amal? Got? From which? From both. Both. Yeah. That is cognitive style, which means you at the beginning you found it a bit difficult to find out the picture, right? Yes, because there was a lot of background in there. But here, when you look at the small picture, you can easily perceive it as a small ball. But you find it in the designs, you find it a bit difficult. So there are two types of perceptions going on. That is field dependent and field independent. Okay, that's the point I'm trying to make. The field dependent as well as the field independent. Field dependent means we perceive based on the background only. We not only perceive the small object, we perceive based on the background. Then the field independent, we don't perceive the background. Instead, we perceive only the specific stimulus there. Okay. And in your example, you can see figure 5.5. Can you see the triangle? Can you
Yes.
see the triangle?
Yes.
Can you see the pyramid?
Pyramid. Middle one.
No.
Yes.
Can you see three-dimensional triangle? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Who all saw the three-dimensional triangle? Ishwarya saw. Alvina saw. Well, okay. Ashish, did you see?
Ma'am.
Okay, fine. So what happens is there are different ways of perceiving that particular image also. Since it's given on a two-dimensional 2D paper, we can perceive it in some other ways. But we have different imaginations. We have several experiences earlier with the pyramid, with the triangle, with the three-dimensional triangle and all. Yes? That's how we can find it. So based on the background, based on the different things, if we judge anything or if we perceive or recognize anything, that is field dependent cognitive style. If we just perceive only the stimulus, only the specific parts of the stimulus, then that is field independent. Okay. In yesterday's example also, where is the board? Yeah. In yesterday's example, we saw A was there, then the box was there, then C was there, then 12 was there, again the box was there, then 14 was there. Here, oh God, It was given something similar to this. Okay. Okay. Now, if you just read it as 1 and 3, the first one, then you can say that you are field independent because you don't perceive it with the background. You don't perceive it with A and C. You just perceive the simple parts of the stimulus, that is 1 and 3. Understood? That is field independent. Now, if you read it as B, then it is field dependent, which means field dependent. Okay, which means you have perceived it with the help of the environment, with the help of the stimulus environment or stimulus field or stimulus background. Understood? Understood? Okay. Now the fourth point, that's very easy, cultural background and experiences. Who will read? Amal, can you read? Amal already read, no? Did you read before? No, then you can read. The fourth point.
Culture background and experiences. Different experience and learning opportunities available to people in different culture settings also influences their perception. People coming from a pictureless environment fails to recognize the object in the picture. Hudson studied the perception of picture by African subjects and noted several difficulties. Many of them were unable to identify objects depicted in picture. They also failed to perceive the distance in the picture and interpreted picture incorrectly. Eskimo have been found to find a distinction among a variety of snow that we may be unable to notice. Some abnormal group of Siberian region have also been found to differentiate among the dozens of skin color of ranges which we would not be able to do. These studies indicated that the perceiver plays a key role in the process of perception. People process and interpreted stimuli in their own way,
Depending on
their personal, social, culture, and conditions. Due to these factors, our perception are not able to finely tuned but also modified.
Finely tuned but also modified. So this point you can write it on your own, I hope. Cultural background and experiences. We discuss culture with anything and everything in psychology. In whichever chapter we are discussing, we'll learn about cultural factors that influence our perception. Cultural factors influence our sensation. Cultural factors influence our attention. Cultural factors influence our gender stereotype. Cultural factors influence our prejudice. Cultural factors influence our attitude. Then our ways of thinking, our ways of problem solving, our ways of critical thinking, our ways of logical thinking, everything and anything in psychology is affected by cultural factors. So here, one example given is in terms of Eskimos. Eskimos, because they have snow all the time around them, and they play with snow, they work with snow, they do all sorts of things with snow. They know the different qualities and characteristics of snow very well, which we might not know because that is particular to their own culture. Now, if I ask you, yes, Ashish, are you there? Yes, what are the shades of green that you know? Green, the color green.
Yellow.
Shades of green is yellow. Do you know the name of any shade of green? Any tone of green? No. Okay. Sana, are you there? Usually when we discuss about anything in art, Sana will be absent. Today she's present, but her video is missing. Sana, help us. Sana, shades of green or tone of green. Come on. Tones of green or shades of green.
Green. Yellow.
Yellow is a shade of green. I don't know. Okay, then different types of yellow that you know.
Brown yellow.
Then
Lime yellow.
yes,
Lemon.
them. Yes. I know. I knew then. I thought. Okay, have you heard about sunshine yellow? Yes.
Yes.
Ashish knows. Ashish, tell me. I misunderstood. I completely underestimated you. Sorry. Tell me, Ashish. Come on. Shades of yellow or tones of yellow, whatever you call it.
Green yellow.
Green,
Greenish.
yellow, pink yellow, no?
The greenish yellow is there.
Yellow is there, yes. Then
Golden yellow.
golden yellow. Then sunshine yellow, I told. Then mango yellow. You know mango yellow? Yes, kind of orangish. Then we have sunshine yellow is a very good color. I really like that color. Then you have mustard yellow. Mustard yellow is
No.
trending. Mustard yellow. In terms of fashion, I'm telling, not in terms of psychology. Mustard yellow. Then you have ochre. Ochre is kind of yellow. A yellow or a mix of brown. Ochre. Have you heard? Ochre. I am a better artist than I don't know to draw, but I know the colors. Okay. So those things, a real artist, like a professional, might know all these tones and colors and all these things. Okay. Like another thing I'll ask you, you might know this. Shades or tones of blue. Light blue, dark blue, navy blue, indigo kind of color. Then you have happy blue, you have electric blue. Heard of that? Yeah. What is Ashish doing there? Ashish is also an artist, you know. Just a minute, I want to tell you something. So, yeah, very good picture. I mean, what do you call it? Painting. What painting is it? Acrylic. Very nice.
Yes.
Any other hidden artist here? Amal, do you draw? Do you paint? No. Any other artist? Meghna used to draw something, no? I used to see, I mean, I see the status now and then. Yeah. Sana, of course, is a well-known artist, the Instagrammer. Any other people, any other person? Raina also, no? Yeah, Raina also, I see. Huh.
Aishwarya Rose.
Huh?
Aishwarya Rose.
Aishwarya Rose, BTS people. Last day somebody drew something. Who was that? Meghna. Was it you? Yes. Yeah. Daily we have this BTS in class, no? The dogs and the BTS, they are the main examples. Now, okay, yeah. Back to our cultural background and experiences. It's already time. Yeah, experiences. You know the example now. The artist. You can take the example of artists. The professionals, they might know hundreds and thousands of tones and shades of a single color. Similarly, if we go to a particular, if we go to psychologists, they might know, or the psychology student like us, I mean like you. I still forget that I'm a teacher, not a student anymore. Okay, yeah. So we know a lot of terms about psychology, which the others might not know. Like in not yesterday, last class I told you, there are so many concepts in our life that we know, but we don't know the terms or the names. I told you we are just trying to name those things. We are just trying to identify, recognize those concepts by learning psychology. You remember? I told you last day. So similarly, our experiences have an influence on our perception. So if you yes, if you meet an adolescent child, not adolescent child, what am I telling? An adolescent, yeah. If you meet an adolescent and the person is telling that I have a pimple on my face, I'm really worried if others will look at this. I'm really worried if others might, everybody might look at me because of this pimple. I'll be the center of attraction, and all those things. So the common person, the lay person, might understand that what is this girl or boy telling. But as psychology students, what will you understand that as? What is the concept in adolescence? What was the concept called? It is a part
Self-focus.
self-focus. We had a term for that. Remember? It was a part of special egocentrism. Imaginary audience. Do you remember? That is imaginary audience. So if you go and tell them that this is because of imaginary audience, they'll tell, what are you telling? Have you gone mad after learning psychology? They would ask that question because they don't know that thing. But your experiences have taught you, or your background, or your environment, your discussions in class have taught you that this is imaginary audience. So our cultural background, our experiences, all these can influence our perception or how we understand things or how we interpret things. Understood? Okay, that's all about today's topic. Any doubt? Any doubt? Which are the 4 points? Who will summarize? Amal, summarize. Just give me the 4 points, headings.
Ma'am.
Hmm.
A cognitive style.
Give first one first. First one was
Motivation.
and desires, the motivation. Yes. The perceiver's motivation influences our perception. Then, huh?
Expectation.
Expectations, or what is it called? Psychologically?
Perceptual set.
Set.
Perceptual set.
Perceptual set. Then,
Cultural background and experimental.
the experiences before that,
Cultural background and
I feel you know. Before cultural background experiences, what did we learn?
my cognitive style.
Cognitive style.
I told before.
I told you to take the order.
Oh.
Okay. Yes, the cognitive style, field dependent and field independent style. Okay, understood all those? Okay. Only a little bit of portion, no? Read and come. Then tomorrow we learn more about gestalt psychology. We have principles of perceptual organization. That day when we learned gestalt psychology, I told you you have this in the coming up chapters, and we have so many principles to learn about the gestalt psychology. So we learn that in the next class. Okay, fine. Thank you then. Bye.
Thank you.